Hey everyone, I'm going to take a look at today's Player of the Week pack in eFootball. I'll quickly give you a summary of what's new in the game today before we get into the Player of the Week pack. So in your inbox, most importantly, survey. We've got another survey. Make sure you fill it in, let them know how you feel. And also you get your free Xerxes today as part of that 800 million downloads campaign. We'll have a quick look at events, and as you will see, yet again, no co-op because they don't want us to play the game, and when we do play it, they don't want us to enjoy it. We've got golden goal back though, hooray. And usual AI stuff. I'll show you what this AFC Champions League one's for in a moment in the packs. I got an AI Legend English Clubs one. Get some trainers, boosters, whatever. But yeah, let's jump into the packs. So I'll just give you a quick overview of the new packs before we get into Player of the Week. So we've actually got a couple outside, well, a few packs outside of Player of the Week. We've got another weekly Showtime Offensive Genius. Boring. Brazilian League pack. This one doesn't look too bad. Again, there are some lower rated players in there. As you can see, there's a couple of, well, 3 4-star players in there. But we've got Ganso, Lucas Moura, Felipe Hansen. It might not be too bad. I'll have a quick look at that. Might do a review of this pack. And we also have, you briefly saw that AI event. So that AI event, you play one match against the AI, any difficulty level, and you get a free spin on this pack. And it looks like there's some decent ones in it. It is a mixed bag. You've got a 3-star in there. And you've got a bunch of 4-stars. But we've got Roberto Firmino, got Oscar, a decent Oscar card, and Sadio Mane. So a few in there that could be quite interesting to a lot of people. So again, I'll have a look at that pack. I might do a review of that pack as well. But for today, we're going to be looking at the new Player of the Week pack. So as always, there'll be timestamps in the description for each player. So if you want to hear about a particular player, click the description and there'll be a link to take you straight to them. And we have a couple of 4-stars in the pack, the rest 5-stars. We'll start with the 4-stars. And the first one we'll look at will be Miguel Araujo. So I'm not familiar with this guy. I didn't realize he played particularly well last week. He does not have a face scan. He's got his regular playing style and position. Yeah, first feature version we've seen of him, and they, compared to his GP card, they've made him worse defensively. He's had a bit of a boost on his pace, his physicals, his technicals up a little bit. But yeah, feature version of a centre back, not as good at defending as he normally is. That makes perfect sense. Skill-wise, they've added interception and blocker, and I think fighting spirit. So we've got heading and aerial superiority. We've got a pretty complete set of skills for a centre-back. I think sliding tackle is the only one he's missing, really. So we've done well on the skills there. But yeah, very much a 4-star card. And even for a 4-star card, it's not brilliant. I mean, down the right, he's okay. Down the left, he's okay. But down the middle there, the defensive awareness at 84, I'd like that to be a bit higher. Tackling is the one core defensive attribute he's got that's good because that will hit 90 with the game plan boost. But aggression and defensive engagement, both in the 70s. I'm not going to say a great deal about this guy. If you just picked up the game and you desperately need centre backs, maybe you get some use out of this guy. But beyond that, it's just really not a brilliant card. And their other 4-star, we've got Kahveci from Fenerbahce. So they've added a right midfield. He's now got a right midfielder as a position. Kahveci doesn't normally have that. Can also play as on the wide right forward, right wing forward, whatever it's called. You can play him centre mid, attacking mid, left midfield. There was a previous one, I think, on the eFootball Hub. There's one that looks like it was in a Turkey pack, but there's no maximum level on it, so I'm not sure if that one got released. There was one from the Turkish League pack though, which definitely got released, and that's kind of similar to this one on the whole, around the same level, but the attributes are kind of shuffled a bit. Some a bit higher, some a bit lower. If you compare this version of Kahveci to his GP card, of course, a Player of the Week attacking player has lost some balance. They seem to want to do that all the time now. So lost like 3 or 4 points off his balance. His attacking awareness is down as well for an attacking player. Again, makes no sense whatsoever. That's backwards, but it is what it is. Slightly worse on the ball, but we've had a bit of a boost on his speed, his passing, physicals, finishing and set pieces up a little bit. So yeah, on the whole, a decent boost compared to his GP card. And like I say, it's on a par, pretty much on a par with the previous trainable version that was in that Turkish League pack. Skills are the same as usual. Got a decent selection of skills here for a creative midfielder. So you got long range curler, knuckle shot, dipping shot, long range shooting, and then with the passing you've got one touch, you've got through passing, weighted, pinpoint crossing, low lofted. So passing and shooting skills. He's got some end product, this guy. He is very much a 4-star card. Decent passing, decent on the ball. Not the quickest though. Would I use him out wide with that pace? No. Would I like him as an attack midfielder? That's probably where he's best, I think, to be honest. Centre midfield, he certainly can't defend well enough for me personally. So I'm looking at this guy as an attack midfielder, really, but as an attack midfielder, the one real letdown is the attacking when it's only 70. That's a big shame. A creative playmaker as well. So is he going to be making a lot of good attacking runs, getting into good positions when you're working the ball forwards? Probably not. But like I say, on the ball he is decent, passing decent, finishing is going past 8 with the game plan boost, and he's got the shooting skills to back it up. So, and kicking power as well, which will go past 90. So yeah, to be fair, this guy's going to have a pretty nice shot on him. But yeah, got some qualities. Certainly can produce some goals for you, but you can see where the weaknesses are. The balance isn't brilliant either. So not the quickest, slightly low balance. Attacking awareness is pretty poor, but he does have some qualities there. I think for Turkish players, especially Fenerbahce fans, you might be very pleased to pick this card up. But ultimately, as much as it's not a particularly bad card, it's just not a brilliant one. So I think for a lot of people, it probably won't quite make the grade. And now we have Bakasetas. So I was expecting Pavlidis from Greece, to be honest, after the 2 goals against England. I don't think Bakasetas did quite enough over the 2 games to make it in, but I guess he scored a deflected goal against Ireland. So yeah, there he is in Player of the Week. And we've got his usual playing style, usual positions. He's a kind of number 10, but can play up front. There was a previous Player of the Month card of Bakasetas from when he was in the Turkish league. I think he's back in Greece now. So yeah, I don't think he won't be getting a live update now. Keep that in mind. Apart from national team weeks, obviously. But yeah, there's a previous Player of the Month when he was in the Turkish league. This one is slightly better. The stats are kind of shuffled around a little bit, but this one on the whole is slightly better than that one. There was a trainable one in one of those legend boxes, I think. Again, stats kind of shuffled around a bit, but that one was a bit better than this one, and it's trainable. But this is a decent version of Bakasetas. If you compare it to his GP card on auto allocation, they seem to have taken about, I think, just 1 point off his ball control and dribbling, taken a few off his low and lofted pass for some reason, but they boosted his pace and physicals, so he's a bit better athletically, and his awareness and finishing got a nice boost as well. That's where the biggest boost is really with this guy, which is interesting. So yeah, as a number 10, as an attack midfielder, is his passing good enough? 83 low pass. Let's have a quick look at his skills. I don't see one touch pass or through passing. Big shame. So yeah, attack midfielder, not for me. They've taken away cut behind the turn and replaced it with rising shot. Not sure why they did that. I saw the game against Ireland. I don't remember it being a rising shot, but fair enough. So we've got long range curler, knuckle shot, dipping shot, rising shot, long range shooting, acrobatic finishing, first time shot. He's well equipped for shooting. Interesting. And they boosted his finishing quite nicely. Okay. With the passing, no real passing skills, just pinpoint crossing, penalty specialist, and captaincy. Yeah. So yeah. Can he cross even? Not really. 77 lofted pass. So all he's really got is shooting ability, to be honest. Sure, low pass isn't bad, but for an attack midfielder, that's a no from me. What about the other 2 positions though? As an SS, you can use an SS in a number of different ways. It depends how many other players you've got around there. How many centre forwards have you got? You having him as a central SS or out wide? I wouldn't put him out wide with the lack of pace. As a central SS though, just behind the 1 or 2 centre forwards, focusing on his ability to shoot, he could be pretty decent. He's tidy enough on the ball. Obviously, he's not going to be great for the dribblers. He's not got great dribbling. He's not got much pace. The balance is horrible, but he can certainly control the ball. His passing's okay, and it's that finishing. As an SS, just behind the attack, shooting from inside or outside the box could be very effective. Attacking when it's at 85 as well with the whole player playing style. So yeah, athletically not brilliant. They have boosted him athletically, but he's still not great. Still a bit on the slow side. Won't be the most responsive, but if you don't mind that as a player in that SS position around the box, making runs into the box, with his shooting, he could certainly get you some goals. As a centre forward, even playing without an active playing style, attacking when it's 85, finishing 84, tidy on the ball for a centre forward, passing is decent for a centre forward. He's got the shooting skills to back up the attributes. He could be a useful centre forward. So yeah, and that kicking power 88 as well. That kicking power does help a lot with his shooting. So yeah, that's going past 90 with the game plan boost. Shooting's really the one thing this guy's got that's really good. He's going to have a very nice shot on him. Whether you try him as a centre forward, he could be useful there, or as an SS, where if you focus on his shooting and just accept the fact you're going to have to be careful with his passing without the one touch or through passing skills, could be a useful one. But I think on the whole, most people probably won't be too keen to get this guy without more pace, balance, dribbling ability. He's a little bit limited, but he does have some qualities, and like I say, he's got a shot on him. So not a brilliant card again, but with the qualities he's got and with the shooting especially, for some people he could be a useful one to pick up perhaps. And then we've got Philipp Lienhart from Austria. So he scored in both Austria's games over the international week. Not surprised he's made it in. He's got his usual playing style, destroyer, centre-back, same position as usual. What have we had previously with this guy? We've had a trainable one from a legend box. That was slightly better, mainly due to the core defensive attributes being a bit better. Otherwise, kind of similar, to be honest, on the whole. And that was trainable as well, though, that card. Comparing him to his GP card on auto allocation, again, player of the week centre-back was slightly worse defensively on the whole, with these core defensive attributes down the middle. But they have boosted his pace, his passing, his physicals, his stamina especially. They seem to do this with a lot of player of the week centre-backs. Big boost on the stamina. That is good. That will help. Certainly if you're winning late on and you're trying to defend late in the game, you don't want tired centre-backs. So that is good. Unwavering form as well. I'm pretty sure he's got a face scan as well. Yeah, he's got a face scan. So yeah, on the whole, kind of a solid centre-back. It's just really the aggression and defensive engagement. I don't see any other real cause for concern. The kicking power is a bit low. Be careful with that. You don't want to underhit your passes just in front of your own goal. But on the whole, it's kind of solid looking, really. You know, defensive awareness and tackling hitting the 90 mark with the game plan boost. Aggression, I don't personally mind that being a bit on the low side. Engagement, that is a bit low. On a destroyer, defensive engagement being a bit low. I would be a little bit anxious about him being out of position at any point in the game. Pace is alright, has been boosted a bit, as I say. The jumping, the physical. If you look at the skills, heading and aerial so he'll be reasonably strong in the air. Man marking, interception, blocker, sliding tackle, back. It's a pretty complete set of skills, I think, for a centre-back. They've added weighted pass and sliding tackle. So, decent additions, yeah. A pretty good selection of skills for a centre-back. So, yeah, he's pretty solid on the whole. Like I said, the aggression and defensive engagement a bit on the low side. Other than that, there's no real weakness there. But he's also nothing special, to be honest. You know, you see with the rating 93, he's only just made it past 4-star into the 5-star kind of category, whatever that even means in this game, because obviously we don't have any kind of filters or anything. But yeah, he's not exactly an elite level centre back. But if you do pick him up, if you need a centre back with form, yeah, a couple of attributes a bit on the low side, but the skills are pretty good. He's got an waving form, and the rest of the attributes are pretty solid. So not an amazing centre back, but I think he can certainly do a job for a lot of people. Now we have our first booster of the pack, and we've got Deniz Undav. So, formerly at Brighton, he made his loan move permanent to Stuttgart in the summer, I think. He was on loan there last season, did really well. Back there now, he's been changed from a deep line forward to a hole player. They've added SS and AMF to his positions, and out of sheer generosity, they've made him semi-proficient at centre midfield on a card which you can't position train. Excellent. They keep doing that on some of these cards. But yeah, we can play attack mid and SS now with this guy. And of course, you can still play centre forward, which is normal position. This is actually the first feature version we've had of Undav. And it's an interesting one. If you compare him to his GP card, maxed out with auto allocation, lost a little bit of balance, but nice boost on his speed, his on the ball attributes, his passing. He's got the same skills as usual, but he's got a pretty good selection of skills. Maybe it just depends where you're going to use him. I'm not sure I'd use him as an attacking midfielder. We've got through passing, but you look at the rest of his skills, he's clearly still built for centre forward. First time shot, acrobatic finishing, knuckle shot, long range curler, with double touch and cut behind up there. Outside curls, a nice one as well. Penalty specialist. But even with through passing, is his passing good enough to play as an attacking midfielder? In my opinion, absolutely not. I want at least mid-80s for low pass with one-touch pass and through passing for an attacking midfielder. So yeah, he's got through passing, but he doesn't have one-touch pass. The passing for me is a bit too low. I'm looking at this guy thinking, is he going to be an SS or a centre forward? I think as an SS, you could certainly get away with him there. He's tidy enough on the ball. Again, he's not a great dribbler, similar to Bakasetas. He's not going to be someone who's going to be, you're going to be getting on the ball and dribbling past defenders, really. But he can certainly control the ball. And for an SS, his passing okay, just be careful not to ask too much of him. The awareness and finishing at SS with the whole player playing style are good. Pace is pretty average. Kicking power decent. Physical is decent, to be fair. That's going to hit 80 with the game plan boost. Bounce 84 is decent enough. I don't know. As an SS, he looks like he could be useful, but I just feel like looking at this guy, he's best in his normal position, centre forward. And at this point, I'm going to activate his booster, which is Striker's Instinct. So we're getting attacking awareness, finishing, ball control, and acceleration. On A form especially, this guy for me is still a centre forward, and I think he's a really nice looking one. So when this guy's in A form, attacking awareness, ball control, finishing, all going past 90 with the game plan boost. Passing is very decent for a centre forward. On the ball, he's very tidy. He's not the quickest, but I think you can, yeah, I think you can allow that. He's not a goal poacher. He's not going to be constantly looking to dart in behind the defence. It'll be probably a bit more neutral in my experience. If you play a striker without an active playing style, they're kind of more like a fox in the box to me. And I think on that basis, he looks like a really good striker, to be honest. He's got very good skills for taking chances. Yes, he's not got anything in the air. There's no heading or aerial. Does have acrobatic finishing though. But he's got a bit of physical contact, some decent balance. The pace isn't too bad. He's not the quickest, but it's not too bad. A decent kicking power. And like I say, the awareness and finishing, the technicals here. For me personally, I think this is one of the best players in this pack when he's on A form especially. I think this is a really nice centre forward card. Attack midfield, no SS. Yeah, he could be decent for you, but I think as a centre forward, when he's on A form, could be really nice. But the downside to that is, now that he's back with Stuttgart in the Bundesliga, he's not getting live update apart from international weeks. So that's a bit of a shame. But if he leaves Stuttgart at any point and comes back to a league where he gets live update, that would obviously be a big plus for the live, for him to get A form, B form, get that boost. Otherwise, just for the international weeks, he could be a decent card to have. It's just a shame that, like I say, he's not getting live update outside of international weeks, and when he does get A form, that's when he becomes such a good card. But even without the boost, I think he's a pretty decent centre forward. I think that's essentially what you're looking at here. I think you're looking at a decent centre forward, and on those rare occasions where he doesn't get A form, I think he could be a really, really good centre forward. So yeah, this for me, on the rare occasions he gets A form, could be a very, very good centre forward, and on that basis, one of the better cards in this pack. It's just a shame he won't be getting A form very often, really. And now we have Giovanni Di Lorenzo, the extra frontman centre-back. Predicted this. That was a pretty obvious one, though. He scored twice from centre-back in a back three for Italy. He's got his usual positions. Normally an attacking fullback. Obviously extra frontman now. Is it a good card? Yeah, pretty good. It's got a booster as well. I'm going to go straight to the booster because I don't think it's going to make a lot of difference to my overall opinion of this guy. So defensive awareness and tackling, both going past 90 with the game plan boost when he's in A form. Aggression and defensive engagement, kind of similar to Lienhart, really. The aggression engagement a little bit on the low side, the other two quite high. But pace, good for a centre-back. Kicking power's fine. Jumping's pretty decent, but physical contact, only 80. And he's 183 centimetres. So if we look at the skills, 6 foot, a little bit on the short side for a centre-back, only 80 physical contact. And he's not got aerial superiority. So there's a big concern over his aerial and physical strength. They have added interception and blocker, so if you're going to use this guy as a centre-back or a right-back, those are two very good additions, but we still don't have man marking, and we don't have aerial superiority. You also don't have acrobatic clearance, so got a bunch of skills here and a lot of good ones, but as a centre-back for me, he's missing a couple of crucial ones. He's not physically strong enough for me, and with his height, I just don't think he's going to be cutting it as a centre-back. But if you use a back three and you like one of your centre-backs, or even in a back two, and you like one of your centre-backs to have the extra frontman playing style and to get forward a lot and to have a bit of ability on the ball, maybe it could be useful for you. Like I say, the physical area and aerial weakness for me is a big concern. They should be for anyone, really. But with the pace, some of his defensive attributes very decent. Technically, for a centre-back, decent. He could be useful for some people. It depends how you use your centre-backs. Like I say, you like a very attacking centre-back, he might be okay for you, but the most important thing on a centre-back really is their ability to defend. And yes, he's got some real strengths there, but aerially, physically, and without man marking there, I can't really see this guy as a particularly good centre-back. And as for his other positions, right midfield, nowhere near good enough technically for that, but right back, his normal position, could you use him in his normal position? You could, but he's not really got the pace, even on A form. 83 speed and acceleration. Yes, he's got good physical and defensive attributes, and now he's got interception and blocker as well. So a lot of reasons why he could be useful as a right back. As a, if you put defensive on him, use him as a defensive right back. But even then, it's technically horrible for a right back. He's a bit lacking in pace as well. So ultimately, yes, it's kind of an interesting version of Di Lorenzo in certain ways, and he's clearly got some strengths, but whatever position you play him in, there are one or two major weaknesses about the attributes and the skills. So for me, ultimately, yes, it's an interesting version. It's kind of a good card objectively, looking at all the numbers on the whole. But when you really think about how good he's going to be in any position, I can't see any way you could play him where he'd be a particularly good card for me, unfortunately. And now we have Anatolii Trubin. So, Ukraine goalkeeper. Second time we've had a Player of the Week card of his. The previous Player of the Week card had the same rating, about the same level overall, but he had a slightly better reflexes and reach, whereas this one's slightly better with the catching and parrying. I prefer the previous one. I've actually got the previous one, so if you got that previous one, you might prefer that one. There was a trainable version of Trubin in one of those legend boxes, slightly better overall. I think the overall is one higher, but that's mainly just because he can jump, because obviously these player of the week ones can't jump. Apart from that, the core goalie attributes are pretty similar really to that card. Comparing it to his GP card, big boost to his catching. That's the big difference. He's much better at catching than his GP card. Reflexes are identical. But yeah, just look at it objectively. Awareness good, reach is great, especially when he's about 12 feet tall. So he's very reachy, good awareness. The catching obviously much better than normal. That's pretty decent at 86. Parrying's okay at 83. Reflexes though, on one of these 5-star player of the week keepers, I want a bit more from reflexes. I would like reflexes to hit the 90 mark with the game plan boost. So he's a little bit short with the reflexes. So yeah, for me personally, it's not that exciting. The fact that I've got the previous one, the previous player of the week version, and I think it's a bit better in terms of the way that the goalkeeping attributes are balanced, this won't be appealing to me. If you don't have a good version of this guy, I do think he could be a solid keeper. Like I say, I do prefer slightly more reflexes, but he's a very reachy guy. He's got great coverage of his goal, and on the whole, he is a pretty solid keeper. He got unwavering form there. I just noticed on Reddit this morning, someone commented on the fact that he's doing a low punt in his picture, but he's not been given low punt. That's classic Konami. But he's got high punt, long throw, penalty saver. Yeah, he's not going to be for everyone. If you're like me, you might think those reflexes are a bit low. You might wish he had low punt as a skill. But with unwavering form and having those pretty solid goalkeeper attributes on the whole, he's certainly, I don't think he's going to let anyone down. I think he's a pretty solid keeper on the whole. And now we have a left-wing version of Szoboszlai from Liverpool. So, normally an orchestrator, they're changing to a creative playmaker. We actually had a previous player of the week from another international week where he was also a left-wing. Same overall rating, attributes shuffled around slightly. That one, I would say that previous one was slightly better on the whole, but pretty similar. And like I say, the attributes just kind of shuffled around, some a bit higher, some a bit lower. But that previous player of the week one had double touch and soul control. And along with flip flap, that meant that previous one had the ball roll double touch. This one, skill wise, is nothing really, no real advantage over that one, nothing major. Although this one can play on the right as a wide midfielder or as a wide forward. So a few pros and cons to the previous player of the week one, but pretty similar on the whole. If you look at the previous trainable versions of Szoboszlai from the kind of league packs and legend packs and stuff, if you train any of those as a left wing, in my opinion, they're a bit better than this one. They seem to be just a bit better on the whole. Again, the attributes will be a bit higher or lower in certain areas, but you can train them. And on the whole, I think most trainable versions of Szoboszlai can be made to be better as a left winger than this one. Compared to his GP card, difficult to make a direct comparison like I do with most cards because his GP card's obviously a centre mid. As a left winger, not a massive difference really. To be honest, if you look at his GP card and you do train it as a left winger, I'm just looking at it on my other monitor now. Yeah, there's not a huge difference really. Depends on how you shuffle the attributes around, but if you've got the GP card and you train it as a left wing, I don't think you've got any major need to pick this card up, to be honest. But it is a decent card. Just to look at his skills before we summarise on the attributes, nothing major. As I mentioned, Marseille turn is gone and they're giving him penalty specialist. Hooray. Not a big difference, but yeah, long range curler, knuckle shot, dipping shot, long range shooting. You know he's got some shooting skill. He's got a shot on him. And then finishing at 80 is good. One touch pass and through passing, weighted pass. 82 low pass though. Are you going to use him as a midfielder? For me, absolutely not. The passing is not quite good enough. I think this is a version of Szoboszlai which you are going to use out wide. But out wide, is he the quickest? I'd like a bit more pace. So yeah, if I'm going to get a version of Szoboszlai, I'd much prefer a trainable one because I'd give him more pace to play out wide or better passing to play through the middle. It's another one of these cards where you look at all the positions and I just don't think he's that great in any particular position. I don't think it's a bad card by any means. Kicking power is great and he's got a shot on him. So his shooting should be good. On the ball, dribbling will hit 90 with the game plan boost. Ball control and tight possession are alright. Attack awareness is decent. Balance I'd like to be a bit higher. He's fairly tall as well. I don't know how kind of fluid and responsive he's going to feel on the ball if you're playing him out wide, especially not having a bit more pace. So yeah, it might sound a bit harsh to say it's not a brilliant card, but like I say, I think ultimately he's got qualities and I think a lot of people will get some use out of him and quite enjoy him. in certain positions, but for me, I just don't think he's quite got the pace or the kind of, don't think he's going to feel quite comfortable enough on the ball out wide, as well as the fact he's not got too much pace. And through the middle, the passing for me just isn't quite good enough. So yes, some qualities there. Yes, a lot of people probably enjoy this card, but for me, I don't think it's a brilliant card in any of his positions. And I think the trainable versions of Szoboszlai are much preferable, really. And now we have Martín Zubimendi. So I expected this guy might get in. Scored the winning goal against Denmark. It was deflected. It wasn't amazing in the game, but he did have a good game. He's a very good player. The one big difference with this guy compared to his GP card and other versions is that he's normally an anchor man. They made him a box-to-box. So that playing style will be active both defensive midfield and centre midfield. If you like this guy sitting in front of your defence, just protecting the defence, other versions of him will be better because of that anchorman playing style, and also because he's not quite as good defensively as he can be on other cards, and these cards are not trainable, as always. There was a La Liga pack version of Zubimendi. It wasn't so good, but we've had a couple of trainable ones in those legend boxes. Pretty similar overall to this one, but you can train them. As defensive midfielders, they're better because you can make them stronger defensive, and they've got the anchorman playing style. So if you've got a trainable version of Zubimendi, you've got a better sort of out-and-out defensive midfielder. But not only that, if you train those trainable versions of Zubimendi to play centre midfield, you might not have a playing style there because anchorman won't be active centre mid. He'll be playing without an active playing style, but you can make them better as centre midfielders. So this might not necessarily be a better version of Zubimendi than a version you've got if you've got a version already, but playing style is certainly an interesting change, and this is a pretty solid version of Zubimendi. As I mentioned, he's not quite as good defensively as he tends to be. Bit worse defensively than his GP card is, with auto allocation maxed out. Low pass has just been nudged down by 1 or 2 from his GP card for no apparent reason. Has had a decent boost on the whole though, especially the finishing, of course, after scoring that goal. And unsurprisingly, they've added long range shooting and first time shot. So certainly a much better version of Zubimendi when it comes to shooting. He's got the regular skills that he normally got. So one touch pass, through passing, weighted pass, low lofted pass, and then interception, aerial superiority, starting tackle, fighting spirit. So he's got a really good selection of skills for a centre mid or a defensive mid. But again, keep in mind as a defensive mid, he'll still have that box-to-box playing style active. He won't be bombing quite as far forward as he would do at centre mid. But even as a defensive mid, he will be running up and down quite a bit. He's not going to just sit in front of the defence, although you could put the defensive instruction on him. But again, he's not as strong defensively as he usually is. So yeah, for me, I use a double pivot. I've got a version of Zubimendi. I got it in that contract renewal pack with the update, the 100-player pack. He's a pretty tidy defensive mid, but I prefer a box-to-box in my double pivot. So this version for me, if I get it, will be preferable. We've got unwavering form. He's not the quickest, never is, but the kicking powers are right. Physical contact on a defensive mid, I would definitely like a bit more. As more of a centre mid, I'm okay with that. I can live with that. Balance is decent enough. Stamina's great. Defensively, again, as a kind of all-rounder, as a kind of more of a centre mid. Now, I know his registered position is DMF, but as a box-to-box and with the way he's built, I'm looking at this guy as a centre mid. Defensively now, I think that's decent. And then on the ball, very tidy. The ball control is going to hit 90 with the game plan boost, I think. Pretty sure it still will for a defensive mid. Certainly on the centre mid it would. But he's very tidy on the ball. Passing, they have nudged that down slightly. I don't know why. You would think, if anything, if a centre mid plays well enough to get in team of the week, their passing would be better than normal, but no, apparently worse. But it's still decent with one touch pass, and with all the passing skills he's got pretty much the complete section of skills to back up his passing. His passing will be decent, even if it's not amazing. And as I mentioned, the finishing had a big boost. Attacking wise is not great. So as a centre mid, yes, I have the box-to-box playing style active, but quite how good it'd be positionally and getting in the right positions and when you're on the attack, I'm not sure. But yeah, on the whole, it's a very decent version of Zubimendi. It's a bit different to what he's like normally. I think it's a very decent version. For me personally, as a kind of all-rounder in the middle of the park, not an elite level card for me by any means, but I do think he's got a lot of qualities there. And he's not as good, a good kind of interesting version of him compared to other versions. I think it's a pretty decent card as a centre mid. And like I say, if you're okay with the fact he's not going to be able to sit in front of the defence and be an out-and-out defensive mid anymore, more of an all-rounder, I think it's a pretty good card on the whole. And now we have Trent, the left back. So normally a right back, normally a fullback finisher. They've now added left back, and they've made this version of him an attacking fullback. They've also made him a semi-proficient at left midfield, but we can't position train him, so that's useless. Thanks for that. Yeah, slightly better than there was a previous International Week Player of the Week version of Alexander-Arnold. Obviously, that one didn't have a left back, but he could play. I think it was down as a centre mid and still had his normal position of right back. This one, on the whole, I think is slightly better in pretty much any position. But that previous version did have interception. This version of Trent does not have interception. What have they done? They've given him long range curler. I didn't think long range curler had any impact on free kick taking because that's what he's in for, but fair enough. So compared to his GP card, but we've got a booster, we'll activate that in a moment, but compared to his GP card on auto allocation, he might be a left back, but it's pretty much the same position as right back in terms of what you want from the attributes. So acceleration's up a bit better on the ball, passing's been boosted a bit. He's had a nice boost to his finishing, very nice boost to his finishing and his set pieces. So he's going to have some fantastic set pieces. And if we activate the booster when he's in A form, even better at set pieces. So his booster is literally free kick taking. This guy can have really, really, really good free kicks. Finishing, like I say, boosted a lot from his GP card. Boost on his kicking power as well. So when he's in A form, that kicking power is going to go past 90. That is very nice. So yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of versions of Trent. We've had a Showtime, we've had 1 or 2 legend cards, so there's been a few versions of Trent a bit better than this, but it's a pretty good version of him, and it's certainly an interesting one. We've got right back, and we've got left back, and we've got centre midfield, we've got right midfield, we've got a few ways you can use him. I'm not sure where he's really best. Does he have the pace to play right back, left back? I think some people would say no. He's a bit lacking there with the physical and the balance. Does he have the technical ability to play as a right winger? I would like a bit more on the ball, but I think you can live with that. If you just treat him like an old school right winger, just get him on the ball and focus on his crossing, which is going to be outstanding with that 90 lofted pass, and when he's an A4, 94 curl, kicking power going past 90 as well. His crossing is going to be absolutely superb. As that type of right midfielder, could be very effective. As a wing back, right wing back could be really nice as well. As a kind of all-rounder who can certainly defend a bit, albeit he doesn't have the defensive skills, but as an attacking right wing back type of a player, depends what kind of formation you use and everything, but could be very effective there. As a centre midfielder, if he can allow the fact he doesn't have interception, he's got the passing skills, one-touch pass, through pass, and weighted pass. Just lacks a bit defensive in terms of defensive skills, but as a centre midfielder can certainly do a job for you. It's just another one of his cards, I think, where it just comes down to what position he's going to be great in. Without more defensive skills and without a bit more pace, I'm not sure how comfortable I'll be with him as a fullback. As a centre midfielder, as long as you've got 1 or 2 other midfielders behind him doing the defensive work, he can be very effective. Would like him to be a bit more better on the ball though for that. And then right midfield, likewise, I'd like him to be a bit better on the ball, but as a right midfielder or a right wing back, I think with the attributes he's got, he could certainly be very, very, very effective. So yeah, like I say, any position you play him in, there's 1 or 2 concerns there. You know, the balance and physical, I'd like to be a bit higher, I'd like a bit more pace, I'd like him to be a bit better on the ball, certainly in the more attacking positions. The lack of more defensive skills, particularly interception, is a bit of a concern, but he's got a lot of qualities there. His passing is going to be fantastic, his crossing is going to be unreal, and especially on A4, his free kick is going to be sensational. So a lot of qualities there, just depends on how good he's going to be in any particular position for you. So for some people, probably for a lot of people, he might not quite make the grade in certain positions, but he's certainly a card with a lot of qualities. He could well be worth having, and the fact he's got left back in a bunch of positions now, the most versatile version of Alexander-Arnold that we've had. So for that reason as well, could be a useful one to have. And we finish up with yet another Player of the Week, Mo Salah. We must have had about 30 Player of the Week Mo Salahs now. Still needs a haircut. Prolific winger. Is that his regular playing style? I'm going to quickly check that because I think he's normally a roaming flank. He is normally... Yeah, he's normally a roaming flank, so changing to a prolific winger. I'm going to cut to the chase. It's a good version of Salah, but it's not an amazing one. There's been a lot of Player of the Week versions of Salah. There's been a right midfielder, there's been a centre forward, and there's been a bunch of right wings, which is his normal position. That's the only position you've got on this card, and you can't position train it. It's not one of the better versions of Salah, to be honest. We've had a bunch of Player of the Weeks that I think are a bit better than this. Trainable ones I think are a bit better, especially Showtime. They have made his weaker foot a bit more accurate than normal. It's one thing to notice. But yeah, ultimately, it's just a slightly boosted version of Salah from his GP card, and he's a prolific winger instead of roaming flank. That's pretty much it, really. So certainly a good card. You know, he's got good pace, he's good on the ball, great awareness for a wide forward, really good. Finishing is good, of course. Passing's not brilliant. Balance is decent. Unwavering form. Skill-wise, we've lost chip shot control and gamesmanship. We've gained first-time shot and captaincy. So you've got the usual skills, a few skill moves. You've got your long range curler, rising shot, long range shooting, first time shot, outside curler, no passing skills. So he's not great at passing. Be careful with the passing. Very good at finishing though, with the awareness as well to get into good positions. It's a very good right wing forward. It's just, like I say, it's not one of the better versions of Salah. I think if you look at all the player of the week versions of him alone, it's probably one of the in the kind of the worst sort of, I don't know how many, but I think more than half of the previous ones are better than this, to be honest. So if you don't have a good version of Salah, yes, this is a good card and it'll be good for you. But if you've got a previous version of Salah, I think the likelihood is you've probably got a better one. So for sure, it's a good card. You know what you're getting from Salah, and for what he's good at, he's obviously very good. But I just don't think compared to previous versions of Salah, it's that great. And ultimately, you've just got a slightly boosted version of his GP card with a different playing style. So yeah, objectively, of course, it's a good card, but compared to previous versions, it's just a little bit disappointing, really. So there is your International Week Player of the Week pack. I don't think it's that amazing a pack, really. I think you've got a bunch of cards in there that could well be useful for a lot of people, but I think you look at the 2 4-stars. Kahveci, I think certainly has got some qualities, could be useful for a lot of people, albeit not an amazing card. I think Bakasetas again, primarily with the finishing, either as an SS just behind the attack or as a centre forward, could be useful. Certainly can score goals, but not a brilliant card on the whole. This Miguel Araujo, however you say it, not a great card. Lienhart, solid centre back, nothing amazing. Undav, I think primarily as a centre forward without an active playing style. When he, on the rare occasions he's going to get a form from an international week, I think could be a really, really good centre forward. And in those cases, it could be, I think for me personally, might actually be the best card in this pack, but he's just not going to get a form very often. Di Lorenzo for me, yes, it's a very interesting version of him, but even either as a centre back or a right back, I don't think he's that great. He's got weaknesses in both positions. Trubin, yeah, solid keeper, nothing wrong with him, nothing too exciting though. Szoboszlai, good version of him, but there have been other versions of him that you can train to be better, in my opinion. Zubimendi, that's an interesting one. He's a good card as centre mid. He's not amazing. He's not a top tier centre midfielder or defensive midfielder, but with the box playing style, it's a bit different to normal. I think it's a good, very usable card. Alexander-Arnold, does he have the right skills to play as a fullback? Does he have enough pace? Does he have enough ability and skills to be a good centre mid or a right midfielder? Maybe. He's certainly a versatile version of Trent, and he's got a lot of qualities, and his set piece is going to be unreal. So yeah, not perfect in any position, but certainly could be a very useful one to have, and a lot of people, if you play him to his strengths, could get a lot of fun. You could have a lot of fun with this guy and could find him very effective. And then Salah, just not the best version of Salah really. So yeah, it's not an amazing pack to be honest. Slightly disappointing on the whole, but there's some interesting cards in there. So yeah, I've got my free spin, so I might as well do that right now. Let's see who we get. I think I probably want Undav, to be honest. For those rare occasions he gets A form, I'll probably get yet another Salah card. What are we going to get? Undav. Go on. It's not Undav, it's red. It's... Of course it's Salah again. Well, at least that gets me a little bit of GP. See ya. So there is your Player of the Week pack for this week. Let me know what you think of it. Let me know who you've spun, who you want to spin. Hopefully you found this interesting. As I mentioned at the start, I may well do reviews of the Asian Champions League pack and maybe the Brazilian League pack. I'm going to take a look at those and see if they're any good. If I think they're good enough to make it really worth reviewing them, I will do reviews of those ones. And yeah, aside from that, jump into the Discord. I'll be seeing you hopefully soon for another video. Enjoy the rest of your week. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.